Hello and welcome, wizards and witches of the Spiral, to the Commons Courier, Episode 4. I'm Luke Oldhorn, and I'll be taking you through this exciting epic of an adventure of Wizard 101 podcasting. You are tuned into the Commons Courier, and we are going to start off this episode like we always do with the news. There's been a decent amount of things going on lately. First, there's House of Palooza, the big House of Palooza. We got new housing items, which you can buy with gold. There are two new houses called the Wizard's Watchtower and the Sunken Palace. Both are available with gold. They cost 10,000 crowns or 100,000 gold. There are a bunch of contests for houses that we'll get to later in the episode. And yeah, so you should really check it out. There's also sales up to 50%. The sale is only for crowns only, so if you're going to buy the item for gold, there's no sale on it. But there's a bunch of sales for housing items, so I really recommend checking that out. Next on our list, the new samurai pet that arrived in the Spiral has been rocking some people's world. From what I hear, it's more of a derby pet than an actual PvE or PvP pet. But it does give a healing card. 2 healing cards actually. It has a chance of getting a pixie card, I believe, but it comes with a unicorn card. And I really recommend checking it out if you are the healing type. Not necessarily life students, just if you're really interested in healing. Last on our list, if you give $60, you can get 60,000 crowns. It's basically just a sale. Normally it's $80 for 60,000 crowns. But with this sale, you're getting about 1,000 crowns for $1. So that's really awesome. I really recommend checking it out if you can. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the news. Stay tuned for the Rush Hour segment. We have a really awesome one coming up. Don't run through that next red light on this week's Rush Hour segment. Today, I'm here to give housing tips since it is House of Palooza. I only have about 4 tips, and I asked for tips on Twitter so that the community can kind of get involved and share a bit, but I only got 1. So I'll share that too, and then we'll move on with some of our other segments. My first tip is to give your house a personality. What I mean by this is don't randomly decorate with random objects. Now, if you're not really into housing, that's understandable, but if you're willing to make your house look good, you have to choose one theme and stick with it. Also, don't copy off someone else. Make your own original ideas. While it's okay to use other people's ideas, it's not okay to copy them entirely. By using someone's ideas, that means taking the basis of what they had and adding to it so it makes your personal touch. My second tip is to kill the clutter. What I mean by this is don't make your house too crowded. You could have your whole house themed to be Crocatopian and have a bunch of clutter everywhere, but that doesn't make your house really good. You should be able to set a theme while not necessarily cluttering up your house so that people can't see where they're going or walk around or something like that. My third tip is Housing Glitches 101. What I mean by that is learn the different housing glitches, learn how to use them, learn what their advantages are, their disadvantages, and some of the little minor defects that go on with them. If you do this, then you can create some awesome housing abilities in your house, such as fireplace things and different spiral doors to your house and stuff like that. My last tip is to have fun. It's no use creating a really awesome house if you're not having fun with it, because then it's just kind of a job and you're playing a game, you're not doing a job. So make sure to have fun when you're decorating your house. Our tip from Twitter comes from @TheDrakeFlame, and he says don't make your house too crowded or fancy. So basically, kill the clutter, or short and simple. That's it for the Rush Hour. Let's continue to the community portal. This week we have a lot to talk about concerning the community portal and the House of Palooza contest. First on our list, the Friendly Necromancer is giving away Watchtower Halls. Homework in a Graveyard is giving away Death School houses. Ditto Wizard is giving away Grand Fortresses. That Pyromancer is giving away Oasis Camps. Page's Page is giving away Royal Playhouses. Diary of a Wizard is giving away Lifehouses. Valerian School for Wayward Wizards is giving away Tranquil Cottages. A Myth-Spent Youth is giving away Myth School Houses. Sorcerer's Corner is unknown. Wizard 101 Addict is giving away Desert Villas, or Villas. The Awesome Pyromancer's Diary is giving away Great Citadels. Shadow Thistle School of Wizardry is giving away Wooded Cottages. West Karana is giving away Balanced Schoolhouses. And Ravenwood Radio is giving away Ice School Homes. So that's pretty much it. Pet Gnome is giving away Island Getaways, and Wizard 101 Central is also giving away Celestial Observatories. So, if any of those stuck out to you, feel free to check out the site's contest. I don't really have time to sit here and explain every contest to you, but I'm glad I had a chance to give you a list of who was running what. So be sure to check those out and stay tuned, because this episode of the Community Portal is going to be really awesome. We have a really special guest here today. Okay, and this week on the Community Portal we have Ian, aka Stormy Wiz. Hey
Hi.
Ian, what's up?
Okay, I'm not sure how to respond to that. I'm sorry, I don't have that active of a social life.
It's okay. Okay, so first, let's ask you a few questions. What's your Wizard 101 story, or in other words, how were you introduced to Wizard 101?
Well, you see, I have this friend named Calvin, and one day I was over at his house, and he lied to me that his cousin worked out in this game called Wizard 101. And it sounded pretty interesting. So, he showed me how the game played, and I, asked him how you play the game, and then he said that he has no idea how to tell me how to do that when he's not playing, even though he was actively playing it. We started yelling at each other, but when I got home, I tried to go into it, and I couldn't figure out how to operate it. So basically I laid there, I just sat there in the chair for 2 hours. And then Icy helped me out because she understands computers better than me. And so we got started, and yeah, I played my first game on February 6th. Mom, what year did I start playing? 2009. I started on February 6th, 2009. And Mom started on February 12th, 2009, not very long after, I started, because I kept saying, Mom, you have to play this game, Mom, and eventually she cracked and started.
Awesome. Tell us a bit more about your wizard.
Well, as you all know, my main wizard is a storm wizard. Well, there are a lot of things, but I think the first thing is, how you can take a test to see what school you would be, before you actually start playing the game?
Right.
Well, I took that test, and the first time around, it said I was deaf. Mom wasn't cool with that, because, at the time, she didn't play. She thought that it would be, like machine gun stuff or whatever. So she made me take it again, and I wound up being balanced, and I thought that was pretty cool. So, I started the game, and it said I was storm, and I was like, well, and then I found out about secondary schools, and I decided to make my secondary balanced. And oddly enough, I've never had a wizard that has deaf secondary, third, or even a main,
Wow.
Yeah, my main wizard's, main is storm, then balance, and I'm working on ice school right now.
Oh, okay. I understand you got to level 60 recently.
Yes, very recently. I don't know what it was, almost as if some part of my mind was hesitant to get to level 60, but yeah, at one point I turned in a quest to someone in Wintertusk, a side quest, and yeah, I leveled.
Right,
I got
awesome.
some screenshots. And then I actually sent a text to Steven Spiritcaller joking, yay, I made it to level 60. Cyrus Drake was wrong when he told me I would flunk out of school, then threw a rock at me screaming, die, you fool.
That's funny. Well, yeah, congrats on that. So let's move on to Wiz Records. What's the inspiration behind Wiz Records?
I'm not really sure. I don't have a very good memory, but he just came to me one day, I should make a website, about records in Wizard 101. I think one thing that once helped inspire it was because once I threw a party in game. It was a huge Christmas party, and it lasted 2.5 hours. And I guess I figured that must be some kind of record.
Wow.
And yeah, but I guess I realized there should be a site documenting records like that. So I decided to create one, and technically it's it's built on the format of a blog, but yeah, I'm hoping that people will email me records, that follow the rules. I'll need a screenshot and, some witnesses in order to prove that actually happened.
So you can probably guess that the interview was cut off, actually by a lot. If I had included the whole entire interview, it would have been about 40 minutes long, and that's not really good. I try to keep my episodes 15 minutes long, and I probably would have had to split that into 3 parts. So, yeah, it was cut down a bit. Basically, the other information that you need to know that he didn't state was, if you want to submit a record, you can submit one at wizrecords.net@gmail.com. Be sure to include a picture and try to get as many people that were there as possible to send the picture to. If you want to check out Wiz Records a bit more, you can go to wizrecords.net, not .com. That's a Brazilian website. And yeah, so check it out, try to contribute to it, and it could be really awesome. So stay tuned for some of our other segments. You guessed it, guys, it's time for the Ask Luke column. Today we only got one question, and that's from Nicholas Limerider. Thanks, Nick. He asks, do you think any other podcasts will ever get as popular as Ravenwood Radio? Now, in order for my answer to be correctly understood by everybody listening, I kind of have to give a backstory on Ravenwood Radio. You see, Ravenwood Radio started when Wizard 101 was fairly new, and if one doesn't consider Wizard 101 fairly new at the time Ravenwood Radio started, which is about, I think, a little less than 2 years, there weren't any podcasts for Wizard 101, meaning it was a completely new area. It was kind of like when the Friendly Necromancer started a blog. There were absolutely no blogs for Wizard 101, so it was a totally new thing. When everyone heard of this totally new thing called Ravenwood Radio, everybody got into it because it was different from what other people had. So now Ravenwood Radio has a ton of fans, especially since they've been going on for more than a year, almost 2 years now. So now let me get to my answer. No, I don't think any podcasts will get as big as Ravenwood Radio, or at least anytime soon. Ravenwood Radio is one of those things people call a classic. It's sort of the original first podcast that ever came to Wizard 101. So it's going to be hard to surpass it. Now, I'm not saying Ravenwood Radio is bad or any other podcast is bad. I'm just saying, since Ravenwood Radio has been established and was the very first podcast established, kind of like how there was a very first company who developed sliced bread, then they would have the advantage. So that's pretty much it for our questions this week. Let's move on to the jackpot segment. Okay, for this week's jackpot segment, we only have 2 winners, because there are only 2 submissions, and it's the same 2 people as last time. Senthos, I believe the full actual name is Senthos385, and Nicholas Limerider. So congrats to you guys. I'll send your codes out shortly, although they may be a little late this week because I heard that there is some KI free games problems, like they're not giving out codes for a little while. So the jackpot segment might be a little pause for a while, but I promise if you enter, I will eventually get you your code. So yeah, thanks for entering. Be sure to enter next segment. Okay, that pretty much wraps up our show. Thanks so much for coming out. I had a really fun time doing this. Don't forget to send in your questions, your jackpot segments, and watch out for me on Twitter at Luke Goldhorn. I do things every once in a while where I'll have you guys say something and maybe I'll give you credit, like basically what I did with the housing tips. So be sure to look out for that. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in.